Well, Ohio State's going to try to put together its best team in a long time by starting with the fundamentals in spring. Steve, what are your storylines as you get ready for next week? What do you think really will stand out to you, and what are you looking for more than anything else?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of cool to be out there on the practice field with this team for the first time next Tuesday, as they kind of turn the page. This has been two lost seasons in a row, and that's kind of been an abnormality in the last decade or so for Ohio State to lose that many games in a season. But and of course, I'm speaking kind of tongue in cheek here, but I think that this team's got some big aspirations and want to beat Michigan, want to win the Big Ten championship, want to be in the playoff, want to get to the national championship game, all of that stuff. And dare I say it, win the national championship. There's no reason to think why this team can't be in the mix to do all of that in 2023. They were right there in the mix to do it despite the loss to Michigan last year. So, in terms of what I will look for, we only get to go and watch the early periods of practice, which is stretching and some individual drills. We don't get to watch a lot of 11 on 11 during the spring, maybe one full practice out of the 14 leading up to the spring game. And so, obviously, the quarterback position, we call it a battle with Kyle McCord and Devin Brown. Those guys will be probably getting equal reps with the ones all spring long. And we'll see at the end of the spring. I'm sure that Ryan Day, Corey Dennis, and Brian Hartline will track every rep. What does the play calling situation look like with Brian Hartline and Ryan Day? How do they mesh? What makes them feel comfortable going into the fall for how that mechanism will look? Running back, you don't have Travion Henderson because he's hurt. Dallin Hayden is a guy to me who's on the cusp of doing some really big things at Ohio State. Huge spring for him. So we'll see if he can make his case to make this a three-man unit as opposed to just a two-man tandem, as we saw last year. Can any of the young wide receivers push their way into the wide receiver core? I don't think Emeka Buka or Julian Fleming are going to practice. Isn't that right, Tony? Are both those guys out?
That's correct.
That opens the door for all the four freshmen who came in last year to get a chance to play. Jaden Ballard, who Tony mentioned earlier, one of the fastest guys on the team. And then offensive line, you've got to open up three spots. You need a new center, which is integral, new left tackle, which is integral. Those two positions in particular, wide open. Over on defense, got to improve the pass rush, got to improve the secondary play. There is just no two ways about it. Your two linebackers are back. They were both outstanding. Want to see if CJ Hicks, the freshman from this past year, can make a push as well. So those are probably the top 7 or 8 storylines that I would look at going into this spring. Just, again, getting young guys, getting their first taste of college football for the early enrolling freshmen, keeping them healthy so that they can contribute in the fall. That happens a lot of times where early enrolling freshmen come in and get chewed up and spit out in spring football because they're just not ready for it. And sometimes those injuries can linger into the fall, but hopefully they stay injury-free. They got a lot of guys on the shelf this spring who will not rep, and that gives the opportunity for a lot of other people to earn some time.
Yeah, I always enjoy the first spring practice because that's usually one that we're almost always guaranteed to watch all of. So that gives you a good baseline, a good first look. That's where you're taking notice of, okay, who's the first guy in every single drill, who's repping first. And then when you get to see another first 15 minutes of practice 2 weeks later or a week later, you're seeing, okay, who's making a move? This guy was third, now he's first. So you've got those kinds of things. I think the message just maybe been relayed to Ryan Day that if you let the media watch more spring practices and more practices in general, there'll be less speculation and just more reporting. And if you let us watch what's going on, then we can talk about it. Or you can also set rules in terms of what you don't want reported. But I think the more you have people seeing what's happening, especially in the spring when there's really no tactical disadvantage to letting media in, then you can tell stories that are actually happening instead of speculating about stuff, because If you lock us out, then we still have to talk, we still have to create content. But I will definitely, as Steve said, what the quarterbacks will be the thing. We'll see. You say splitting time evenly with the ones. What are the ones? The ones that we know of are Matt Jones and Donovan Jackson, basically on the offensive line. And how much work does Matt Jones even need to do at this point? So the offensive line for those quarterbacks, I think it's going to be an issue. So the 7-on-7 stuff will be important because they'll actually have time to throw the ball. The other thing one last thing I will definitely be watching for is where is Sonny Styles? Where is he playing? Where is he in the pecking order? Because I think I could see a safety situation with him at strong safety, Lathan Ransom moving from strong safety to free safety, and then Syracuse transfer Jahad Carter as that nickel guy. And I think all three of those guys could operate pretty well together in any sort of spread personnel, 12 personnel, anything like that, because of their versatility and their size and their skill sets.